Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. It's the presentation of our Volunteer Recognition Awards. This week, between November 14th to the 20th, is Victim and Survivors of Crime Week. So today we wanted to highlight all of the wonderful work that our volunteers have been doing through our networks. But before we jump into that, I just want to go through the presentation flow for today. So we're excited that through this grant that we received through the Department of Justice, we were able to design two videos. And today we're going to be launching one of the two videos, and it's around ageism and looking at the fact that that's the future us. And then after the launch of our new ageism video, we're going to jump right into the recognition awards for leadership within the field of the prevention of elder abuse. And just a couple general housekeeping items. I'm sure now that everyone attends webinars on a daily, weekly basis that this is all basic stuff. But just as a reminder, on all of our webinars, attendees will be muted. During the award portion, the recipients of the awards we will promote the recipients so they're able to speak in recognition of the award that they're receiving today. And as always, with all of our webinars, we record these webinars, and within a couple business days, we always make them available on our training webinar portion of our website. And if you want to adjust the size of either my slides that you're viewing or the videos, you'll see a line in between. You can drag right or left to make either or bigger or smaller. And then, of course, please, we encourage you to stay connected through our chat box. So today, please let us know where you're viewing from. We always find it interesting where everyone is from across Canada and internationally. And then during our regular webinar portion on restorative approaches to elder abuse, please, we ask you to put your questions and answers just your questions in the Q&A box, my apologies. So all of the speakers will be available for a Q&A portion at the end of our webinar. And then we ask you at the end of the webinar, you will see a very brief evaluation pop up. And we encourage you to fill that out because these type of webinars that we're providing for you today are based on the feedback we receive from you. So it's really important if you want to keep seeing great and relevant webinars, we need your feedback. We want your feedback, so please. So today I want to begin with acknowledging our land. We acknowledge that we gather on the traditional territory of a number of First Nations and acknowledge their stewardship of this land throughout the ages. We seek a new relationship with the original peoples of this land, one that is truly based in the honor and deep respect. Miigwech. So this is a little bit about what is Victim and Survivors of Crime Week. I'm happy to announce that this event today was funded by the Victims Fund. It's a grant that contributes to the administration and the programs within the Department of Justice Canada. And these funds are available federally across all provinces and territories. And so what is Victim and Survivors of Crime Week? This year, the theme, each year there's an established theme. This year is the power of collaboration. And I think that truly aligns with the work that we do in preventing elder abuse, that in order to respond and intervene in the most complex cases of elder abuse, we truly need collaboration. We need to get out of our silos and work together. Victims and Survivor of Crime Week is held yearly to raise awareness about the very real issues that are facing our victims and survivors of crime. The services and programs and the laws that are in place to help them and their families. And as a staff member of EAPO, we're truly proud, and we are thrilled to be hosting this event to really commemorate this week and how vital it is that all of our communities work together across the province and nationally across Canada. Okay, so this is our video. I wasn't expecting it to play automatically. So I want to invite my colleague Rayanne to jump online and set up this great video that we produced and launching for the first time today. So take it away, Rayanne.
Thanks, Laura. So I'm pleased to show this. It's a one and a half minute animated video looking at ageism, because we know that ageism is one of the underlying root causes of elder abuse. And when we think about victimization and respect and dignity for older adults, but that we know that ageism is a big factor. So we produced this video in collaboration with CREVAWC, the Center for Research and Education of Violence Against Women and Children, as well as the Canadian Network for the Prevention of Elder Abuse. And it also coincides with the work that we're doing, not only provincially, but also nationally, and the work that we're doing around our strategy of engagement around getting people involved to speak up and to combat elder abuse. So this is, as I mentioned, a short little video, and thinking about the future you, and what are, this is meant to attract all audiences, all age groups. So it's not just older adults, it's their families, their grandchildren, our children, to think about how we treat and respect older adults. So we will be posting this on our social media after, and it also will be translated and available in French as well. So that's coming probably within the next day or two, and that will also be posted on our website and available for people to view, and will be posted on our website. So take it away.
And please, while you're watching this video, we encourage you to give us your feedback in the chat box. We'd really like you to know, like to hear what you think about this. A lot of time and energy was put into this. So here we go.
How you treat older adults today makes a difference to your future. Someday it will be you. Your words and your actions have an impact every time. Every time. Be wise in your choices. Be thoughtful in your actions. Treat people today how in the future you will want to be treated. Imagine yourself as much older than you are now. Will you want to be treated like this? Think about it. Chances are the future you will want to be respected for your life experience.
Okay, it looks like my internet is not liking to show this video. Just give me a moment.
Someday it will be you. Your words and your actions have an impact every time. Every time. Be wise in your choices. Be thoughtful in your actions. Treat people today how in the future you will want to be treated. Imagine yourself as much older than you are now. Will you want to be treated like this? Think about it. Chances are the future you will want to be respected for your life experience.
Maybe we'll come back to it, Laura. I think it probably needs to load. Some people are saying that they can't hear the video very well. Maybe you just need to turn your volume up on your computer as well.
Yeah, my volume's at 100, so I think that's a great suggestion. Thanks, Ram. We'll try to get back to this at the end of the award ceremony. But you did just get like a little sneak peek. So hope you enjoyed the 20 seconds that you got. What we'll do is we'll jump right into the awards right now and try this again at the end. Okay, so this is year 2 of our Volunteer Recognition Awards. This is a snapshot of the awards that we handed out last year. Again, this year, we're happy to be able to make these Iceberg Awards available to all of our recipients. They will be mailed out after the ceremony, but you can see here that it's going to clearly say that this award has been given in appreciation of your leadership and dedicated service in elder abuse prevention. And as well with the awards, we will be making digitally available certificates, which were made available through the Department of Justice Canada. So we're so happy with our first recipient of this award. I have the pleasure to work closely with Susan Steele as I support the Prevention of Elder Abuse Committee of York Region. So Susan was unable to attend today. Susan, if you're online, please let us know. We would love to hear from you. But I do want to highlight that Susan has been an extremely long-standing member of the Prevention of Elder Abuse Committee York Region. She is also the member of their executive committee, and as well, one of York Region's biggest fundraiser, Hello Beautiful. She sits on that subcommittee as well. She is a retired clinical leader of South Lakes Geriatric Team. Susan continues with her commitment, passion, and dedication to this committee. Her clinical knowledge and expertise is always invaluable. She is a great sounding board and always ready to listen with empathy, compassion, and open-mindedness. This past year, Susan and her family lived a journey that led them to be the voice for many seniors and make change for future families. Thank you, Susan, for your wonderful work you have not only done with the Committee of York Region, but your professional career as well, and of course, her personality. Looking at the future, you can feel proud that you have helped make such a difference, Susan. She's also the co-chair for the Long-Term Care Subcommittee for the Ontario Association of Social Workers. And Susan, keep up the great work. Congratulations. So on to our next recipient of the award. Tammy Brydon is our next recipient. And Tammy, if you're online, please let us know, and we'd like to promote you to be able to speak in recognition of receiving this award. But we'll jump into why Tammy was recognized. So Tammy is the Elder Abuse Prevention Coordinator at Community Care, City of Kawartha Lakes, and she participates as part of her role on the Kawartha Haliburton Elder Abuse Prevention Network. In the past, Tammy has also served on the network as a member of the committee, as she was the Community Safety Officer with the City of Kawartha Lakes Police Service. As the Elder Abuse Prevention Coordinator, Tammy provides frontline supports to seniors who are being taken advantage of or abused. She is absolutely a tireless advocate for seniors within our community. Tammy has intervened in situations to ensure the safety of seniors as well as safeguarding their funds financially. Tammy also provides education regarding elder abuse to community groups and key stakeholders. Congratulations, Tammy.
So Tammy is here, and Tammy, if you want to say a few words, you can just take your video off and unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, hi there, everyone. I just want to say thank you very much for honoring me with this recognition. I have worked in the field of elder abuse for 30 plus years, not only in my present role with community care, but in my previous role in policing. So love the work I do, and I'm so glad that there are so many of us out there advocating for seniors, because we all are going to be there at one point in our life. So thank you for honoring me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Tammy. And speaking personally as a resident of City of Port the Lakes, we are lucky, truly lucky to have you working in our community and my community as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tammy. Susan has just joined us, so I wonder if we just want to give Susan a opportunity. I'll just promote her to panelist.
Absolutely. So we're going to go back and hear from Susan Steele. She was able to hop on. Welcome, Susan.
She's as a panelist. So Susan, you can unmute and show your video.
Are you there, Susan? There she is.
Coming maybe? No.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience, the joy of living and working virtually.
Okay, maybe we'll just go on if Susan can join after. She might be busy at the moment.
Well, without further ado, I am happy to announce our next recipient of our award today, Jennifer McDonald. She is the co-chair of Durham Elder Abuse Network, and she's been part of that network for over 10 years. She's dedicated her time. During this time, she has been an absolute active member of this network and all of its activities. Most recently, she took on the role of co-chair, as I said. Jennifer provides the training to her staff, students, and volunteers on elder abuse signs and indicators, training that she takes very seriously and insists on each and every person that they take on once they join in at the Oshawa Seniors Center. In her role as the day program supervisor, she is constantly going above and beyond for her clients and family. Most recently, she brought forward 2 incidences where caregivers and their loved ones experienced poor care at a local hospital. This is far beyond the duties of program supervisor to follow up with, but she's done so by calling hospital staff, advocating, reaching out to patient relations, and bringing it to the dean table to start a more solid advocacy and to, ideally be able to support these vulnerable seniors more in the future. She's truly passionate, and I am relieved to see your face here. Jennifer, if you would like to say a few words in recognition of receiving this award.
Thanks, Laura. Thanks so much. Thanks for the nomination to the Durham Elder Abuse Network. I love it. I love working with the network. I was mentored by Tammy Brydon, and for those of you that know her, she was a real firecracker, and she kind of taught me to do my training style to the students and the staff that come through. So I'm responsible for that, and I love it. I love advocating for seniors, and I love to continue to do so. The support of Jen Josephson is amazing, and I'm so thankful. So thanks to all of you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, and it was so well deserved, and I truly mean that. Thank you again. And I see we have Susan Steele here, so I am happily going back to Susan because you're worth it, Susan, that we go back on this slide deck. Please, you are so deserving of this award, and if you could say a few words about receiving it.
Oh, absolutely. Can you hear me?
Absolutely, yep.
Oh my goodness, I am so thrilled to accept this award. I've no time in history has it ever been more important that we work as a community and that we support each other and raise each other up as we do the good work to prevent elder abuse. It's an honor, it's a privilege to work with amazing people locally and provincially and across the country. And I I'm committed to doing and continuing to do this good work. And I'm just, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you. And it's been a very difficult year. And I want to thank you for recognizing the challenges that we've had, and the good work that can come out of really supporting each other. So I thank you, and I look forward to being and continue to being part of this very, very powerful and great journey to make the world a better place. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Susan. And from the bottom of my heart, well deserved. You are a strong and resilient individual. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, on to our next award recipient. I am happy to announce our next award recipient, Joanne Christensen. She has been a member of the Elder Abuse Network out of London, Middlesex. You can see in my hesitancy that I work on the East region of Ontario. So this is our West region. And she's been a member since 2000. So for 21 years, she's been also a part of the executive committee for the past 10 years. Joanne started as a senior representing their community. Over the years, she's been involved with assisting to write multiple applications, both federally and provincially, for grants to fund elder abuse education events within London Middlesex region. Joanne was instrumental in receiving funding to create a local website. She also was part of a working group who wrote a protocol document that local businesses and agencies could use to guide to create elder abuse protocols in their workplace. Joanne has been directly involved with organizing elder abuse education events over the years, and also events on World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, which is June 15th every year. She also was involved in INR training, which is It's Not Right training within this region, organizing training events to assist their network to expand the number of individuals who could teach It's Not Right presentations. When we had a Southwest Ontario Elder Abuse Network, bringing many of the elder abuse networks in the Southwest region together, Joanne was an active member. With her ongoing dedication to the network, Joanne was the recipient of the Brian Young Award in 2013. Joanne has been a significant support to the part-time coordinators when funding has enabled the network to hire somebody to assist with specific projects. Joanne, you have done outstanding work within the London Middlesex region. Do you want to say a few words about receiving this award? Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Laura. It's an honor to be nominated for this award. It's also an honor and a privilege to be a member of Elder Abuse London Middlesex. I'm fortunate to be part of this group of volunteers who are working together to address issues of elder abuse. I'm also just one member of this group. Our vision is to end elder abuse. We're all working toward that common goal, and I'm very pleased to be able to contribute in whatever way that I can. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Well deserved. Well deserved.
Thank you.
And our next recipient of the award today is Jane Rowan. Jane Rowan has been a member of the North York Elder Abuse Network for the last year and has shown her dedication, work ethic, participation in attending the network meetings monthly, and collaborating and working alongside many of the North York agencies. Jane is an inspiration, not afraid to roll up her sleeves and provide input when necessary. She is not afraid to share her thoughts on what needs to be done in our communities with respect to the prevention of elder abuse. I can't wait to meet Jane. She sounds like a go-getter. Jane contributes to the conversations, provides input, participates in the working group and organizing events both online and in the community through the Elder Abuse Prevention Network of North York. She contributed and presented at one of our elder abuse online forums, presenting one of her stories and her artwork and pictures about persons and the community. She is also assisting on ideas for the next Elder Abuse Network Forum, either online or in person. So stay tuned for 2022. The North York Elder Abuse Network is extremely fortunate to have Jane work with us on this very important issue. Jane, I'm thrilled to see your face. I love when things work out on Zoom. Congratulations.
Yeah, it takes me around. I had to go all sorts of places, but I just want to congratulate all my fellow nominees, and I'd also like to thank Jane and Christine from the chapter I belong to, because with their encouragement, I keep coming up with more ideas and thinking about what we can do next, and hopefully taking it to the community. So I really appreciate this. It's going to give me encouragement to go forth and do more. Let's put it that way. It's exciting. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Jane. Well deserved. And when you speak, I can hear your passion for advocacy. Keep up the great work, and we'll hopefully see you next year at the award ceremony.
Thank
and
you.
Our next recipient of our award today is Susan Douglas, and I have the pleasure to work with Susan Douglas on the Prevention of Senior Abuse Network of Simcoe County. Susan is a nurse, and during her 12 years, she's held many roles within this committee and participated in countless network projects and activities. Susan has presented on vicarious trauma, and I'm sorry, I'm thinking about our vicarious trauma webinar for next week. Susan has actually presented at various forums and seniors groups. She has been involved with PSAN initiatives, including World Elder Abuse Awareness Day activities, grant applications, and senior safety kits, as well as many other things. Since September 2017, Susan has been involved in PSAN's executive committee as a treasurer. She has looked after the funds for PSAN since has received grant approvals. She has purchased all of the online, all of the resources necessary, and stores them in her home. And I've seen on calls that she has quite a large storage room of boxes of elder abuse related things. In 2018, 2019, PSAN applied and received the Seniors Community Grant to replace a very old and defective website. Susan took the lead on this project from truly the start to the finish, including managing a very difficult consultant that was the web individual. And it was a tremendous amount of work that she undertook. It was Susan's idea to create a roadshow in 2019, 2020 to promote education and awareness of seniors abuse and prevention to seniors and community members in rural areas of Simcoe County. She assisted with our successful grant application. The roadshow was very well received. Susan was there for each one of them. PSAN received a grant in 2020-21 to prepare over 1,000 senior safety kits for seniors by first responders during wellness checks or other police fire activities. Susan purchased the bags, gathered all of the resource, and put all of the kits together for both of these grants. Susan, without further ado, congratulations. If you're online today, I would love for you to say a few words. I don't see that. Is Susan not online today?
Yep, she is. She's
there.
good.
She is. Good.
So to unmute yourself, Susan. There we go.
There we
There
go.
she is.
All right. Thank you all. I can't see myself, but I just want to say I really appreciate being recognized. We work with a great group in our network, and our leadership with Pauline as the chair has been unremarkable. She's a steadfast leader and so much appreciated how to bring her leadership, and having, you know, the Ontario group supporting us in the back. It's always hurrah for you guys. I know you guys are super dedicated. So much appreciated being a part of this greater group. And even though we've had COVID stumbles here, we are still, being creative and pivoting and looking at new directions to collaborate and move everything forward and keep educating and promoting our seniors as very active and involved individuals who can take on, whatever's in front of them instead of just looking at them as frail individuals. So thanks so much.
Congratulations, Susan. Well deserved, truly. I'm happy to announce our next recipient of this award, Myra Adams. She's a retired outreach and social service worker and college instructor. She has been a resident of Brampton for over 40 years and is an active member of the community, volunteering for the past 26 years with more than 35 organizations. In 2008, she became the member of the Brampton Seniors Citizens Council. She worked her way up through the ranks to director, vice president, and now president, of which she has been part of the last 2 years. And she's been an active member of this committee since 2014. She's an active member of the COSTI program designed to work with newcomer youth and intergenerational programs. She's part of CARP, age-friendly committees, diabetic advisory committee, founded the Brampton Youth of Heart Seniors program in 2005. She has counseled women and seniors who have experienced abuse and the focus on teaching them how to help themselves. She has collaborated with numerous community agencies, as you can tell. In 2018, she was recognized in the House of Commons for all of her advocacy work with seniors. Also in 2017, she was honored at Ontario's Senior of the Year. And the following year in 2018, recognized in the House of Commons during Women's History Month as an activist and having impact in shaping Canadian society. Congratulations. Myra, are you online today?
Yes, she is. And I think, Myra, if you just share your video, there she comes.
Wonderful. That always makes me happy, as I continue to say. Welcome and congratulations.
Well, thank you very much, Laura. And I am extremely honored and thankful for this amazing honor, because it's something that I didn't really, expect. It's wonderful being able to remain active in the community. I work with great organizations, including the Peel Elder Abuse Prevention Network, wonderful people to work with, and I hope to be able to work with them for many, many more years. So thanks again for this great award.
Congratulations, and I can sense your passion, which is remarkable. Congratulations. Well deserved.
Thank you.
So that wraps up all of our recipients of our Elder Abuse Prevention Award today. I do want to end this award presentation with truly highlighting that we are in this together, that the key in successfully intervening in these complex cases is getting to know our community partners and truly providing that referral, resources, and supports to all of our seniors across the province, all family members, all caregivers, and all of us, just like these recipients of the award today, is really advocating for change. And with all of us being of like-minded, I feel, as though we'll be able to meet this goal where, elder abuse will be truly combated with strong community partners like these that were highlighted today. So again, thank you so much for your dedication and your outstanding work in the prevention of elder abuse. And now what I'll do is I will stop my share.
Wonder if we could just try the video again. And if not, I could try to share it on my screen.
Absolutely, I will try again, but just so everybody is aware that I have been receiving signals that my Wi-Fi is unstable right now. I'm always full of hope, so let's give this a try. And my volume is turned up on both
How you treat older adults.
my computers, so let's give it a go.
How you treat older adults today makes a difference to your future. Someday, it will be you. Your words and your actions have an impact every time. Every time. Be wise in your choices. Be thoughtful in your actions. Treat people today how in the future you will want to be treated. Imagine yourself as much older than you are now. Will you want to be treated like this? Think about it. Chances are the future you will want to be respected for your life experience, to have people who love you, to feel like you belong and have purpose, to feel like your life matters. And you are probably not alone. Yet in Canada, 63% of seniors say they have been treated unfairly or differently because of their age. Discrimination based on age is a violation of human rights. It's called ageism, and it's a big problem. We all deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, no matter what your age. Learn more about seniors' rights. Visit Elder Abuse Prevention Ontario. EAPO is partnering with provincial and national organizations to help address ageism and prevent abuse, because working together across the country is the way forward.
Please let us know your comments in the chat box about the video where I'll speak personally. I feel proud and honored that we were able to produce this with the funding that we received for this week. So I'll go ahead and stop my share and we will get on to the next portion of the webinar. So I'm seeing a fantastic comment. I like that. I keep the comments coming.
Okay, I think we're ready for the next part of the program. So I see that we have our speakers, Julie and Wendy, with us. Rianne, or actually Julie, would you like to share your screen and put up your slide, since we're going to go right into your presentation? But before that, let me just tell you that I'm so excited, because I think it must have been about 3 years now, Wendy, when my colleague Mary Shakuri and I were in Brantford. And we were part of a consultation. We were running the consultation on elder abuse response protocol for Brantford. And Wendy passed me this little book that she and Julie wrote. And it's called The Little Book of Restorative Justice for Older Adults. And I love little things, because I feel that little things are not so little. So I read it, and indeed it wasn't, there were some very big ideas in this little book. So I'm very excited to introduce to you Wendy and Julie. So Julie Friesen is Director of Programs at Community Justice Initiatives at the Waterloo region. She's been involved in conflict resolution, mediation, and management positions since 1997. Julie has conflict resolution experience ranging from elder mediation, workplace conflicts, neighborhood disputes, oh my word. That alone is more than a full-time job. Neighborhood disputes and criminal court mediations. Welcome, Julie. And then Wendy Meek is supervisor and mediator at the Elder Mediation Program of Community Justice Initiatives. She currently supervises the program, and she assists victims and offenders, as well as community members, in addressing and resolving conflict and crime. Wendy mediates, she facilitates circles, groups, and she's a passionate speaker on restorative justice and older adults. So I'm very excited. We have conflict experts here, and we need you. So take it away, Julie. Thank you, Julie and Wendy.
Hello, everyone. So can you see the PowerPoint screen?
Yes, perfect.
All right, great. Just want to make sure technology, it's always a challenge. So first, I want to say how privileged Wendy and I are to have watched and been a part of your awards ceremony. I want to send our congratulations to all the award recipients. It has truly been a very challenging time. It was challenging time even before COVID and the pandemic. And certainly it has been a challenging time, and we've seen that in our community. So it really takes all of us to create a community to make sure that we are working against the incidents of elder abuse. And so we're so proud and honored to join you today. So I'll tell you a little bit about what Wendy and I will do today with you, and hopefully we have some good time for questions afterwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a bit more information about community justice initiatives, which I'm going to call CJI from now on, just to make it easier on all of us. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our story. So that's our story as an organization, as well as our story working alongside older adults in our community. I'm going to talk a little bit about our values, and all of these lead to what I like to call the whys of what we do. So the whys that inform our current work with older adults and our community. So I'll be giving you that sort of high level overview, and then I'll be passing it over to Wendy, who has a lot more of the details of, exactly how our service works with community, and we can give you that sort of high level and more detailed information about what we do. So let me just go to the next screen if I can do that. So what I want to talk to you a little bit about is that restorative justice ideals, they can be traced back to Indigenous origins, as Indigenous communities embedded restorative practices in their lives and their cultures, and in many, many different ways. Restorative justice is actually a Western cultural term. This concept of seeking justice through relationship with each other and through our interconnectedness with the land, with the animals, is not embedded throughout most Western cultural ways. So as an organization, CJI continues to seek to remember the work that came before us and that will endure after we are gone. So we talk about restorative justice and restorative practice as centered on relationships and connections, how you create, how you maintain, and how you mend relationships. Restorative practice and restorative justice provide intentional opportunities for our community to acknowledge that we are all interconnected and that our actions impact each other, and that we are all responsible for our community's safety. We view harm as an opportunity to build a stronger, resilient community, a community with folks who are able to see each other with empathy and compassion, and are able to dialogue about what we value and we need to move forward toward healing together. So a bit about us is that, so we started in 1974 with a program that we call the Victim Offender Reconciliation Program. And a gentleman named Mark Yancey, who was one of our organization's founders, he was a probation officer who advocated for 2 youth who had vandalized 22 properties to meet with the people they had harmed, to experience the direct outcome of their actions, and to offer reparations in person. Mark saw the need for this as he met with people who had committed crimes, but had little empathy or knowledge of the real people whom they've had harmed. He also thought about the folks who were victimized, who never had a chance to ask questions, have their fears allayed about being re-victimized, and they wanted a chance to talk about how to work towards making things right. So this innovative idea of folks meeting together when there's been a criminal incident has since spread to more than 50 countries. I grew up in the United States, and in about the 4 different areas in which I lived in the United States, there was a victim offender reconciliation program in each of those communities. So what our work really seeks to humanize systems, especially the justice system, by bringing together people into dialogues, having difficult conversations about accountability and impact, and coming out of those dialogues, having transformed how we think and feel about what happened and each other. We also bring the community in this creation of justice by equipping community volunteers to facilitate these dialogues. We believe in community helping community to find healing and justice. So restorative practice is at the heart of everything that we do. So there's lots of things that we do, and I'm just going to give you a little taste of things. So we do conflict resolution services in many different areas of life. We support people impacted by sexual trauma. We work with folks who identify as women returning to the community from prison or custody. And we support government-assisted refugee youth to build connections with settled youth in our communities. Our work focuses on bringing people together who are normally kept apart so they can build relationships that result in stronger, more connected community. We are inspired by our program participants who are experiencing very difficult situations, yet they demonstrate resilience and courage as they begin to work to heal together. Our services walk with people, meeting with them where they're at and assisting them to build connections that are meaningful in their lives. Some of the things that we value that you can see in one of the red circles is that we want to make sure that our services partner with the community. So this means that we're always looking for partnerships with other community organizations. We're always looking to partner with the community of folks who are interested in creating a community that is a restorative community. So we really look at being community-led. We were a grassroots organization at the time with an innovative idea, and we continually try to see and respond to the needs in our community and to partner with that community and really listen to that community and see if we can help address some of their needs, if we connect with their values and who they are and what they're looking for. We're participant-centered, so we meet people where they're at. We listen to what they need. We don't assume that they're interested in our services, but we chat with them and we listen and make sure that together we are looking to create something that is helpful and meaningful in their lives. We make sure that we create space for voice, choice, trust, and safety. And then sometimes, we talk about some of the mediation that we do, and sometimes people like to say that facilitators are impartial or neutral. Those words don't speak to us as much as this idea of treating everyone with unconditional positive regard. That means that we recognize the dignity and humanity in folks, and we want to make sure that we hold all folks and create a space where hopefully they can reach where they want to go. We're also relationship-centered, which I'm going to talk about even more when I talk about restorative justice and restorative practice. So I know, in fact, I participated in one of the previous webinars through the Elder Abuse Prevention Ontario that talked about elder mediation and restorative justice. So I know that a lot of you have already this information about what restorative justice is, but I'm going to give you a little overview and then get a kind of talk about really how we connect with this idea in our community and in our services. So like a definition of this, and in the book that Wendy and I did write, which is right here, this is sort of what we define restorative justice is in a little way, because it's a little book. We talk about it as a non-adversarial, non-retributive or non-punishment approach to justice that emphasizes three things. We emphasize healing in those who have been harmed, meaningful accountability of those who have harmed others, and the involvement of community in creating healthier, safer communities. So that's all stakeholders. So for example, it may not just be the person who's identified as the one person who's been harmed. We know that that harm has a ripple impact. And so we make sure that we look at who here needs to be involved, who has been harmed, and we understand the ripple impact of harm. What's really important is to elevate the importance in a restorative view of justice, the importance of acknowledging some things. So in sort of different from the sort of traditional justice system, which we do work alongside, we really look to elevate a couple of things when things have happened, or even in a proactive way before harm has happened. So we talk to people about harms and needs. So we're really asking people, you know, what do you need from this situation? How are you impacted from this situation? You know, not which law was broken or who did what. We're really looking at the harms and needs. And when we are in relationship with each other, which we see in a very broad way, it could be in relationship that I know you, that you're part of my family, that you're my neighbor, that you're my colleague. We also think of it much more broadly in that we are a part of a community together. And as part of a community, we have roles in that community and we have responsibilities. So we look at what are our responsibilities in our community. So that can be in very micro situations that we talk about, that when someone has harmed someone, that creates accountability or responsibility. And we have to dialogue together to figure out how we figure out what are those roles and what are those responsibilities. We also want to elevate our connections with each other. The fact that we are relational beings as humans, and that we need this connection to folks. So we really elevate that idea. What kind of relationships do we have with each other? What sort of connections? But we also want to transform and acknowledge the situation and the systems in which we exist. So often that can be difficult to see when we're in the middle of things, but we want to acknowledge that we exist within certain realities and certain systems and certain cultural and societal norms and systems. And that we need to understand that harms can happen within those systems. And how can we impact those systems as part of being a restorative community? Part of what our mandate is as an organization is also to create a restorative region. So we're really working on this idea that it's not only those particular situations of harm that we want to impact. We want to create a community where we proactively engage with each other in ways that are restorative, so that we are continually, intentionally thinking about our relationships, our connections, and how we show up every day in our community. We also want to make sure that our systems don't look at punishing people, but instead look at restorative ways to handle harm in those situations. So for example, we have worked with schools to create restorative schools. We've worked with workplaces to think about how can we become a restorative workplace. We've worked with our regional government in utilizing restorative practices in rent geared to income housing and other housing providers. We have looked at neighborhood engagement. How do we engage together as neighbors? And for example, another way is that we've also partnered with our community in utilizing restorative practices to respond to incidences of Islamophobia, xenophobia, and racism. We look at upstream ways of dealing with harm, such as community engagement and connectedness, fair economic systems, anti-oppressive practices, accountable political systems, and others, instead of working downstream to fix issues after they had happened. So, restorative justice is also this idea of restorative practice. So, and I could go on and on about this, so I won't though, but really thinking about how we really engage with each other. So this is when we, lots of folks, have lots of important things to do in the community. We have food banks that help people with food security. We have folks who look at housing. And then we also have folks who look at how do we have relationships in our community. And that's what our work really looks at. How are people connected in our community? And how can we intentionally impact how people feel connected? So we believe that is one of the important parts of who we are as human beings. We need food, we need housing, we need security, and we need to feel connected and have relationships. So one of the places where I really like to connect with, and you'll see that there's the Relationships First Newfoundland website on the bottom left of the screen of this one, and that's where a lot of this wording comes from here. So when we talk about restorative practice, we really go beyond crime to look at relationships, so that we understand that restorative practice, that our work in the community is to help us think about how we work on relationships before thinking about rules and behavior. That we think about focusing on people before implementing policies. That we elevate the importance of honoring people before measuring and judging. And that we think about people's well-being before we think about success. And Kay Pranis and Dorothy Vandering, there's a quote there that I like. It's called, "At its core, restorative justice defines justice as honoring the inherent worth of all human beings, regardless of who they are and what they do. It accepts that people are relational beings whose well-being is nurtured or whose well-being is diminished through our interconnectedness." So I just want to talk a little bit about our journey with older adults. So this is a little bit of our story specifically around restorative practice and restorative justice approaches to working alongside older adults in our community. And so we, in early 2000, Arlene Grow, who worked for the CCAC at the time, she was brought sort of to situations where there was suspected elder abuse. And her experience of those interactions with families and older adults led her to connect with CJI and other community partners to find an innovative way to work with our aging population. So Arlene had found that in many situations of elder abuse and conflict situations that she dealt with, criminal charges were not possible or appropriate. She further noted that many of these situations stemmed from experience of conflict and historically difficult relationships. She knew that most of the older adults that she met did not wish to involve the justice system because they did not want to lose the relationship with that person, even if they had taken advantage of them or been abusive toward them. So Arlene, tells many stories about this, but she found that the reasons for not going to the police were complex. The older adult may have relied on that person for help. They loved that person, who was often a family member, and they did not want them to get into trouble. Additionally, some were afraid of reprisal from that person. So she was frustrated with the options that she was providing older adults, and that led her to seek a different way to approach, address, and prevent these situations. So she became interested in restorative justice, but she could not find any projects that used a restorative lens to respond specifically to elder abuse. As a result, Arlene organized a collaborative process that included agencies who provided services to seniors, interested community members, ethnocultural community leaders, older adults, and us. So together, she created a restorative process that responded to elder abuse. And this led to the Restorative Justice Approaches to Elder Abuse and Mistreatment Project. And I started in CJI back in 1997. So I happened to be here at the beginning of this process. And so I got to see this, this firsthand. So we piloted this way of addressing elder abuse. And I would say the project experienced successes, experienced challenges, and many opportunities, with the final report acknowledging that our community was now better able to respond to elder abuse situations. So when that pilot project ended in 2004, CJI continued to operate the service under its community mediation service program umbrella, even though it uses more tools than just mediation. But the demand was there for older adult specific services. So at that time, we created the elder mediation services. And so what we definitely found out, and what you'll see from what Wendy will present, which I will pass it over to you soon, Wendy, so get ready. But what we really found is that it is more than dialogue opportunities, is what we needed to do to fully restoratively respond to the needs, and to, as we've listened to older adults and their families and neighbors and friends as we did this service. So it's, even though our name is Elder Mediation Service, we've thought about changing it and maybe will at some point. It is more than elder mediation services. So what we really, so this idea that justice is about relationships first, that justice is about the fact that we as human beings are interconnected with each other. That made us say, you know, we must do much more than just help people dialogue when something has gone wrong. That we actually need to, if we're going to honor the inherent worth of all human beings, then we need to do this in many different ways to support folks as they are experiencing challenges, to make sure that they experience dignity, they experience respect, and they experience belonging and connectedness in our community. So we started to work alongside our community to ensure that more people were experiencing connectedness, that people were feeling honored, that people were equipped and empowered to repair the relationships when they were damaged, which they will. That's part of being a human being and a human experience. And that they have the support that they need to build, maintain, and mend relationships. So what I'll end, and I love that there was the ageism video that we saw, because we really connect with the idea of restorative communities and age-friendly communities. So the United Nations World Report on Aging and Health challenges us to transcend our outdated ways of thinking about aging, to majorly shift how we understand aging and health, and inspire the development of transformative approaches. So we know that it takes all of us, it takes a community of us to ensure that people feel like they connect, that they belong. And we know that services like ours work best when our community is prepared to act from an age-friendly restorative perspective. So for example, one of our partners in our community is our regional age-friendly community and our Cambridge Council on Aging, two really important organizations in our community, ensuring that we are making sure that our community is a place where people feel like they can belong, that they see themselves in all of the different ways in which our community shows itself, in the ways our infrastructure and in our supports, in our transit, in all those ways. And so we're really, believe that that work is so important, and that it actually is a way to impact the experiences of elder abuse, as you had already talked about with that video. So with that, I hope you've gotten a sense of who our organization is, what we value, sort of the perspectives in which we come from. And then I'll pass it over to Wendy to take it over. There you go, Wendy. Wendy, you're still muted, actually. So if you go to your picture, you can unmute.
Thanks, Julie. So Elder Mediation Services provides a service to older adults 55 plus, their families, their neighbors, their caregivers, anyone in their lives, an opportunity to create those spaces for them to feel safe and respected and be able to share in meaningful dialogue to address situations of harm and conflict that they are going through. It's very important that they feel that they are welcomed. When they first connect with us, they could be feeling anxious, or they could feel be unsure of how to address their situation, what can they do about the harm that has been done, or the conflict situation that they are in. So they feel quite anxious about that. And so we give them the opportunity to share their story. And it is a voluntary process for people to participate in. They can feel that they are, participating, and we are listening to them and listening to what they are going through, and then to assess what services would be best for them in terms of CJI services or elder mediation services or other services within the community. We offer that support for them. We can ask them if they prefer us connecting them to other sources within the community. And then we also talk to them about what a process would look like in terms of our support that we can give them internally in community justice initiatives. So we have built connected with organizations within our community over the years and built good partnerships with them. We value their support because we can't offer all support that is necessary for the older adults and the other participants. So we know that connecting with those within the community who have the expertise and the professional knowledge to be able to assist the older adults that connect with us. We also have spoken to our partners about situations where they can participate in the process that the older adult may be going through with our agency. And there are situations where that can happen. We had a case where the family had connected with us regarding their older adult mother, and they were unsure about what was needed in terms of the decisions that needed to be made for the older adult. And the family was divided about information that was shared with them by the health team. So we asked if the doctor could come and spend just a few minutes just discussing with the family what the health situation was so that everyone in the room could be together and hear the same information. And once they have heard that, then they could come together and move forward with coming to decisions in the best interests of their mother. So it's those kind of things that we look for if we need outside agencies to participate in the process in some way or another. We also ensure that individuals are able to engage in conversations. So if they don't feel empowered to do so, we won't immediately put them into a situation where they all come together as participants or families to start a dialogue. What we do is we can, through some of our programs, such as conflict coaching, if the older adult is open to it, we could to share some time with them, talking to them about what they need to feel that they can have a voice and speak about what is important to them and share what they want for their future. So we could spend some time with the older adult doing that as well. So we continue to offer ongoing support for the older adults as well, by connecting them with outside organizations that could assist them, or they could join in terms of once they have gone through our processes and they feel empowered to volunteer, we could certainly help them to do that as well for the future. So Julie did touch on our CJI values, and we find it very important in terms of what we do in elder mediation service. We understand that all of us have had different experiences in our life, and we respect that people's differences. There's differences of opinion or differences of perspectives, and so we value that even though they may not be ours, we can value it and make sure that we respect the other person. Individuals need to feel worthy of who they are. They need to feel accepted. They need to be included in discussions or decision-making that is in their best interest. So dignity is truly important for them to feel that self-worth in the process. Participants also need to be able to speak openly. They need to be able to be transparent, and they need to feel that there is no judgment or fear of retaliation if they are open and honest and are transparent in the process. Confidentiality is important, because the individual needs to know that when they are sharing their stories, that it can be kept in confidence and within the process. And if it is to be shared with anyone else outside the process, that it first needs to be agreed upon by all in the process. So individuals can be in control of their own lives and decisions in the process. They also have the right to be given information to guide them into that decision making. So as much information or outside support or resources that we can give them, the better it is for them throughout the process to be able to decide what is best for them and what they need, rather than what someone else may want for them or what someone else thinks they need. Next slide, Julie. Thanks. So the programs in elder mediation service that we provide it's quite a few different programs. And once our client comes, or participant or older adult connects with us, then we assess which services are going to be there to support them. So they may come into a decision-making situation where they have to make decisions about who their power of attorney is, who they need to start thinking about a will, or any transitions that they are going to be going through, such as living experiences or living arrangements. And so we could assist them with that in allowing them to talk about what's important for them and who are the people in their lives that are currently assisting them in making those decisions. We have found so many of the older adults, because they may be going through some health issues, or they are going through an elder abuse situation where they don't have the confidence to speak up for themselves because their family members have taken over their decision making of who the power of attorney is, or they have brought the documents to them to sign and they haven't even read through it, or they don't understand the information. So this is what we assist them with, is ensuring that they do understand the legal terms. We are not lawyers, so we don't give legal advice, but we sit down with them and we talk about who is important in their family. Who would they like to see be their power of attorney or the executor, and what conversations need to take place with those that they appoint to ensure that the people they're appointing understand who they are in working in their best interest. The information that is being shared is important to know as well what they have decided. So another area is the peer mentor program, where we have trained volunteers of their peers to support the older adult going through loneliness and isolation or a conflict situation, and assist them in helping them to identify what they are feeling, what they need, what resources can we refer to them. And the peer mentors call them once a week just to check in with them and to encourage them to answer any questions that they have. And that is a valuable part of our program. We have seen an increase in COVID times with older adults going through loneliness and isolation, and alleged elder abuse situations. Another one is our elder abuse. We are fortunate enough to be able to partner with the senior support team in our area, which is a partnership between the Waterloo Regional Police and Waterloo Wellington Lynn. And they support the community through elder abuse awareness and prevention. And we receive some of our referrals from them. So we're fortunate enough to have that support when we are taking our older adults through a situation of elder abuse. So we offer the older adults who have experienced situations of harm the opportunity to come and talk about it, and for us to find supports for them, especially when they don't understand what it is that they really experienced in terms of harm, or what healthy boundaries are, or what a healthy relationship looks like. So we ensure that we support them and assist them through that as well. Then we also have groups where we connect older adults to. We have an activity group where it is more of a building relationships. I think it's important when older adults are feeling lonely and isolated, or they're going through a conflict situation or an elder abuse situation, where we connect them to others in the community. And by doing a fun craft together, they can build those relationships and build friendships outside of the group that they already are involved in. So another group that we have is the informational group. And this is to bring other agencies in to talk about their services, and the older adult can then connect with those agencies in the community and feel comfortable that they know what those services are and who they can talk to if they need that service. We have a cultural group where we ask people from different cultures to come and speak to the older adults as well, to build those bridges between different cultures, and they can enjoy a little treat of that culture together as well, and in so build other relationships outside of their own culture. We also have a community conversational group where it's more of a closed group, where once they have started building relationships with others and they're finding the support that they need, and they're feeling more open to sharing their stories with others, they can now start supporting others. And so in this group, they start supporting each other and encouraging each other. Our conflict resolution, so we can provide mediation, we can provide circles when there is a bigger number of participants, and we can offer conflict coaching as well. As I said, you know, if the person does not feel comfortable yet to voice what it is that they need, or be able to engage in the conversation or the dialogue, then we assist them in getting to that place where they can comfortably do that. Next slide, Julie. So what does our referral process look like? So I'll take you through the intake and referral process, our initial meetings, what that looks like, the assessment of our services, and then ongoing support and service delivery. Next, Julie, please. So in our intake, we collect all the information from various sources. The referrals can come through the senior support team of Waterloo region, and at the court from the Victim Offender Reconciliation Program. Now, when these referrals come to us through these sources, we need to understand the situation of harm that has been done to the older adult. And so there are sometimes directives as well, in terms of there may not be, there may be a no contact order out. So we have to ensure that we adhere to this. We keep in close contact with the senior support team if they have sent us a referral, because we want to ensure that we are understanding how we are to help the older adult and support them. So keeping in contact with our referral sources is very important. If we do have a self-referral, we spend time with the older adult, listening to their story, acknowledging and making sure that they are safe. So we would be talking about a safety plan. Are they in a situation where they are in danger? If so, you know, do they feel comfortable with contacting the police or contacting the senior support team, or would they prefer us doing that for them? and we would take them through the safety plan. When an agency referral comes in, then we would want to connect with the agency just to understand some information about the situation as well, so that we can keep in contact with each other throughout the process. They can have interim reports as to how it is going. Obviously, it is a confidential process that people are going through. And so we would ask permission or consent to share information with our agency referrals. There could be family members that would call in and talk about what the older adult is experiencing. It could be a member of the family that is taking advantage of the older adults. So families would want to get together to discuss the situation and also the harm, and possibly if this person has been a power of attorney in terms of finances, property, then the family might want to talk about changing the power of attorney, obviously speaking to the older adult. If they are able to make that decision, then we will certainly include them in sharing information that's important for themselves. If it is a situation where they do not, they are no longer in control of making their own decisions, it's important to get the family together rather than the conflict growing and having a bigger ripple effect. Is getting the family in and talking about what has happened and how to move forward in the future. So creating those opportunities for the family is very important. So a friend can call in as well and talk about what they have observed or what they see is possibly happening with their friend. And we would then contact the older adult if they give us a permission to do so, and then see who those people are that need to be part of the process. It could be other community members as well that could be calling in, and it could be that they want to consult with us as to what they think they are seeing or hearing. So we could also give them direction as well. If it is a situation where they have observed an alleged elder abuse situation, we would also speak to them about the senior support team of Waterloo region, and whether they feel comfortable with calling them directly, or if you know, they would want us to connect with them as well. So once we have all the information we want to collect in an intake, then we will schedule individual meetings with the participants and also with the referring agency staff as well. Next one, please. So if it is that a referred participant, then we would want to listen to their story. It's very important to give them the ability to share their perspective on what they think that has happened to them and what their needs are. So we would ask them who the support people are in their lives that could possibly support them throughout the process. It may be someone from their faith community. It may be a caseworker or a caregiver or someone that is important to them in their lives that they would like to see support them throughout the process. We also talk about some resources out in the community that could possibly assist them in providing some support for them throughout the process. So we also ask if we could, if they could give us consent to share information with other agencies if they have identified those. We talk to them about whether they are in immediate danger, talk about the safety plan, and it's important that this is shared throughout the process as well, because things could change. Situations could change throughout the process, and we want to ensure that we understand when they are feeling that they are in immediate danger, that we share the safety plan with them and who we can refer them further to. And we talk to them about what the process would look like when they go through a mediation process. So with the agency referrals, we want to understand what has already been done or what has been provided so that we can see which other supports there are. And then also whether they would want to participate in the process if the older adult or the other participants would like them to be part in the process. And then consent needs to be given as well to have them there. So we would also be identifying possible other resources or services. Could be the Alzheimer's Society, Canadian Mental Health Association, Spectrum, Community Support Connections. Sometimes when the older adults, especially during COVID time, would come into one of our services, and the peer mentors start speaking to them and supporting them, they would start revealing some of the information about what their situation is. They may be in a situation where their child is coming to visit and needing finances, so they're giving their finances out, and so they don't have enough money themselves for their groceries, and they might be knocking on the doors of other people within their housing complex and asking for food. So that would be a red flag for us, and we would want to get them support in terms of groceries. We can connect with community support connections. And then we could also spend some time talking about, you know, what supports they need from us in terms of how we can have conversations about what the alleged elder abuse situation with the finances. And then we can connect them to any of our other services as well. They could come in and it could be a conflict resolution service that they're needing, but it may turn into a situation where they are needing that peer mentor support. So we could connect them to that. We can connect them to some of our groups that they can start connecting with other people and building those healthy relationships. We can also start sharing with them in our information sharing sessions, which covers the impact of what elder abuse is, recognizing what it is and the impacts thereof, and also what healthy boundaries are, and also what they look for in the future. If they can continue the relationships, what would be a healthy relationship with that other person who has done the harm? So we ensure that they are well supported in information and with the ability to be empowered to make their own choices, to make their own decisions in how they want to be supported and how they want to move forward. So if they identify some support persons, then we would want to speak to them as well. We would want to know what their relationship is with the participants. We would want to know what they can contribute throughout the process, what their role would be, and what ongoing support that they can provide once the process of mediation or circles has been completed. Next slide, please. So once we have gathered all that information, then we determine the types of services to be assigned. As I said, could be conflict resolution, it could be peer mentor support, it could be the information sharing sessions, it could be home share. That's one of our newest programs where we assist older adults who want to age in place to find compatible home sharers. And we take them through a process of application, registration, and then where they, a process of connection in an introductory meeting where they can connect with each other, see if they can connect with each other, ask some valuable questions and about what they can live with, what they can't live with, what the space looks like, and if they can make those connections, is going to the next step in assisting them with references, and they would need to do police check, and then if they would like to get some legal advice as to if they are renting a space together or insurance that they would be needing, any logistics in terms of the legal, then they can go and do that on their own. And then we can take them into a home share mediation process, which is restorative, where we ensure that they can talk about what is important to them and cover things such as if they contribute to the chores of the home, then what would the contribution to the household expenses be, if there is parking, if they have a vehicle, if there's smoking, about guests, if there's overnight guests, then what does that look like? The living area, if they are sharing a space, and the kitchen, can they use each other's fridge, and what space they have. So all the logistics that go with that can be discussed in the home share mediation, and it is totally up to them what they want to be speaking about and what they agree on. We put into a memorandum of understanding, which is something that they can follow and remember that they agreed on, and they can always revisit if life does change for them. So our groups, we connect them to our groups or to other resources within the community. Next slide, Julie. So what does our service delivery look like? We have staff and volunteers who have gone through specific training in elder mediation, and they deliver our service in the different areas of the program. We have given them training in transformative mediation, in elder mediation, and peer mentor training. And we have ongoing professional development trainings within CJI, or we have other people come in and train our volunteers as well. So the process would be for mediation that the facilitators engage the participants in the dialogue to share their stories. Obviously, the one who has done the harm is taking responsibility for what has happened, understanding the impact of that, what the participants' needs are and what they see as an outcome, and then offering them the continued ongoing support after the memorandum of understanding has been completed. So during the mediation or the restorative circle, we could be offering them that conflict coaching where it's individual skill building opportunities in being able to communicate effectively, or listening skills, or how to empower themselves to be able to have a voice and to speak out about what is important to them. And then the information sharing sessions is if the older adult feels that they need some further understanding of what they have gone through before they can have a conversation with the one that has harmed them, then we can certainly spend some time with them doing that. As I said, we can share the impact of the harm that has been done, but also how to set healthy boundaries and build a healthy relationship going forward. With the peer mentor support that comes alongside all of these other programs is important. So the person who is going through the process is well supported. They have someone that they can use as a sounding board, but also be encouraged by them and help them identify further needs that they have and resources that we can refer them to. Next slide, Julie. So what is the post process is that we can continue with the peer mentor support as long as the person is needing that support. Again, it is participant centered, and we take direction from them as to what they need, and most times it is that they would let us know that they have been well supported and would like to transition out of their program. We, for instance, we had a lady who went through the peer mentor program as a participant, and she is now a volunteer with us. And that is what we are looking towards, is for our participants to come in needing the supports and going through the process, and then realizing that they are well empowered to be able to give back to the community. And we can certainly connect them to other programs within CJI that they may be interested in volunteering with, or other agencies within the community that they may be interested in volunteering. So we could revisit the mediation or the circle process. We all know that things change in our lives, and there may be some of the agreements that were made that are not being followed, or it needs to change. So they can always revisit the conflict resolution service. If they are needing other resources, we could refer those to them. We continue to assist them to be engaged in our groups, where they are building healthy relationships and growing and empowering themselves to take control of their own situations and manage what they are going through on a daily basis, and reaching out to the resources within the community and giving them those opportunities to share their stories with others, feeling comfortable doing that, and understanding that through sharing those stories and the successes that they've experienced could certainly help someone else go through theirs as well successfully. Next slide, Julie. So thank you for your time. Are there any questions or comments that people would want to make?
Thank you so much, Wendy, for your very informative presentation. Truly appreciate it. Just looking here through the Q&A box and okay.
There wasn't anything specific. I think there was some questions around BC.
Oh, right.
I know I had a question prior to this from email just asking, I know your program is unique to the Waterloo area, but are there any other similar programs in Ontario that people could access in the same kind of concept that you have, or program idea that you have there?
I would say that we're fairly unique in sort of the breadth of programming that we provide and the sort of intentional way that we specifically train our community volunteers in older adult specific ways. But there are other community mediation services that folks could access if they wanted to have dialogues around that. And so, for example, they're all across this land that we live on, as well as in Ontario. It's called Ontario Community Mediation Coalition. If you Google that, you can find the different community mediation centers. Obviously, there's private mediators as well. I mean, we really look for this idea that we would hope at some point, we're always told that restorative justice and restorative practice are best practices, and that it's really great to have an option like separate from the criminal court system to have choice for folks in our community. But to be honest, it's not well resourced. So we battle for our budget every year. And so that's probably why you don't see a lot of services similar to ours throughout the country, as well as throughout Ontario. But yeah, I do encourage folks to look for other restorative justice organizations in their community or other community mediation centers, and they could connect with them. Also, of course, being a bit more online as we are right here, it does open opportunities for us to connect with folks outside of our region. And so we do offer that as well. But really interested in making sure that if folks are interested in learning more about this, we hope to have a toolkit that we are connecting right now with the University of Waterloo, and Sheila is on this call. Sheila, what's your organization's name? I always forget. You can put it in the chat. Anyways, we're partnering with that for a toolkit of some things to think about if you are considering how can we be relationship focused community for our older adults, and as a community really step up and be there to support older adults in our community.
Great, thank you.
So just to clarify, Julie, I did receive an email before this webinar, somebody excited, and they live out in the East region. They're able to connect to you now virtually to utilize your services? Some
services, yes.
Okay,
yeah. So we would just
okay.
want to make sure, obviously, if there was something closer to them, we'd want to make sure that they access that. But for sure, connect with us, like reach out to us. If nothing else, we'd love to sort of hear what's happening in other areas as well, just so that we can connect and be a part of a best practice network and things like that. But often what we have to do is we have to make funding opportunities sort of fit with what we do. And so that's one of the reasons why we do so many different things, because it's very difficult to get restorative funding for restorative justice programming specifically.
Excellent, thank you. So you're the masters of creativity.
Yeah, that's right.
So what I'm going to do is
I'm sure a lot of people do that as well, but definitely our creative juices are always flowing. So
that's great. So I'm going to share my screen. I want to take a moment to highlight our upcoming webinars that we're excited to be able to offer to our community members. So please, if you haven't registered yet, I want you to think about registering for November 22nd, which is going to be looking at approaches to elder abuse, family physician's perspective. We've already had several individuals register for it, so don't miss out. On the 23rd, As part of Victims and Survivors of Crime Week, we're happy to be able to offer resilience, small steps for self-care. Maureen Pollard, she is a wonderful speaker around vicarious trauma, compassion fatigue. I had the opportunity to work with her in victim services. She was one of our volunteers. So she truly goes above and beyond and is an expert in the field of vicarious trauma. So we're happy to be able to offer that. And then on the 24th, so this will be 3 days in a row. On the 24th, we will be hosting Preventing Domestic Homicides with older couples, lessons learned from tragedies, and that will be Dr. Peter Yaffe along with Margaret McPherson, so not to be missed. And now that we live in such a virtual world that Julie was just talking about, I want to encourage everyone to like and follow us on all of our social media accounts. And of course, stay connected with us. This is Ran and my contact. Reach out through email or our direct phone numbers. And again, after the webinar, as we're closing out right now, you will be prompted to do a short evaluation. I promise it's not much of a time commitment, so we do appreciate when individuals do fill out our evaluations. On behalf of Elder Abuse Prevention Ontario, I want to take the time to truly thank Julie and Wendy for their wonderful webinar this afternoon, and reach out to them if you have questions. Great presentation. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Take care.